And in the last minutes, Israel's military saying it continues to attack targets inside of Iranian territories. We're joined by France 24 senior correspondent Catherine Norris Trent. We just spoke with former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who, although in opposition, says this operation will go on as long as it takes. An operation that was planned a long time in advance.
Yeah, that's right. I've just been speaking with a former Mossad official, and they said that basically this was probably years in the planning, because when you get down to some of the details, this wasn't just some 200 aircraft, including fighter jets, firing at all these targets, which in itself would take a great deal of coordination. This actually involved covert Mossad and Israeli intelligence operations in the ground. So what they did is they took in explosive drones by vehicles into Iran. We don't know exactly when, we don't know exactly how many, but there's kind of shades of the Ukrainian Operation Spider's Web. They infiltrated Iranian territory, and they had these explosive drones in there, which just prior or simultaneously to the airstrikes, we haven't got an exact timeline, they went ahead and hit Iran's air defense system, some of their ballistic missile launching systems, taking those out, a lot of them. We don't know to what extent exactly, but damage was done, is what the Israeli intelligence official was telling me. So that basically cleared the skies for the Israeli warplanes to go ahead and bomb their targets. And it's also interesting to see now how much damage that did in terms of how Iran can respond. Now, they probably have more launchers capable of firing ballistic missiles back at Israel, but we don't know how many. And the speculation that is why the immediate response from Iran was to send up these drones, these UAVs, around 100 of them to attack Israel, rather than immediately firing back ballistic missiles, because to some extent that capacity has been damaged. So it will be really very interesting to see what details we can get on this covert operation involving Mossad commandos putting explosive drones on vehicles and getting them to strategic sites, a kind of base in Iran, to target defense systems there.
And we have heard from the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog that there is not, at this point, radiation leaking from the Natanz site, the biggest nuclear site inside of Iran. We know at least one of the big nuclear installations has not yet been hit, or has not been hit. So we can presume, perhaps, that there are going to be a lot more of these strikes?
This would tally with what I was hearing from an Israeli military source earlier in the day in a briefing there, and again, according to this Mossad official, that this is an ongoing operation. This could take days. This is not a wave of attacks that we've seen in the past that will take one day and then be over. That's not what people are expecting here. They say that there could be waves and waves of these strikes, and politicians saying, look, this will take as long as it takes. But they've been preparing the population in Israel, saying, look, we are going to be asking you to get down to the shelters again, because this is an operation which is going to take some time. And the former Mossad official that I was speaking to said that they wouldn't necessarily call this an attack. They would call it a war, simply because they do expect it to take days. And so, yeah, it's ongoing because we know there are a number of Iranian nuclear production sites which have not been hit. And clearly that is one of the aims. The Israeli aims here is to take out Iran's nuclear program. To what extent they can do that without using the American bunker-busting bombs, which it's not clear they have used as yet. We don't have confirmation on that. We don't know. But they're clearly gearing up for more waves of strikes.
And time will tell whether the Israelis used U.S. intelligence for all of this.
Right. So far they're saying these preemptive strikes were 100% Israeli. But that may be in terms of the military side. What about the other cooperation, including intelligence and analysis and things like that? It's not clear at this point. The U.S. has been seeking to distance itself from that. Israel would perhaps like the U.S. to get more involved and get their backing to get into this scenario, this potential war, as we're seeing here. The U.S. at the moment, while clearly not condemning Israel, at the moment saying that they weren't involved, but we don't know exactly about the information, the intelligence sharing.
All right, and the U.S., which, according to our correspondent Fraser Jackson, is still for now expecting to show up Sunday for nuclear talks with Iran. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, that's a huge question as well. Will Iran want to actually take part in diplomacy, or will they try and save face at this stage?
Catherine Norris Trent.